2 Kings chapter 21. Manasseh was 12 years old when he became king. He ruled for 55 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Hephzibah. In God's judgment, he was a bad king, an evil king. He reintroduced all the moral rot and spiritual corruption that had been scourged from the country when God dispossessed the pagan nation in favour of the children of Israel. He rebuilt all the sects and religion shrines that his father Hezekiah had torn down, and he built altars and phallic images for the sex god Baal and sex goddess Asherah. Exactly what Ahaz, king of Israel, had done. He worshipped the cosmic powers, taking orders from the constellations. He even built these pagan altars in the temple of God, the very Jerusalem temple dedicated exclusively by God's decree. In Jerusalem I place my name, to God's name. And he built shrines to the cosmic powers and placed them both in courtyards of the temple of God. He burned his own son in a sacrificial offering. He practiced black magic and fortunetelling. He held séances and consulted spirits from the underworld. Much evil in God's judgment, a career in evil, and God was angry. As a last straw, he placed the carved image of the sex goddess Asherah in the temple of God, a flagrant and provocative violation of God's well-known statement to both David and Solomon. In this temple and in this city, Jerusalem, my choice out of all the tribes of Israel, I place my name, exclusively and forever. Never again will I let my people Israel wander off from this land I gave to their ancestors. But here's the condition. They must keep everything I've commanded in the instructions my servant Moses passed on to them. But the people didn't listen. Manasseh led them off the beaten path into practices of evil, even exceeding the evil of the pagan nations that God had earlier destroyed. God, thoroughly fed up, sent word through his servants, the prophets. Because Manasseh, king of Judah, had committed these outrageous sins, eclipsing the sin performance of the Amorites before him, setting new records in evil, using foul idols to detaste Judah into a nation of sinners, this is my judgment, God's verdict. I, the God of Israel, will visit catastrophe of Jerusalem and Judah, a doom so terrible that when people hear of it, they'll shake their heads in disbelief, saying, I can't believe it. I'll visit the fate of Samaria on Jerusalem and rerun of Ahab's doom. I'll wipe out Jerusalem as you would wipe out a dish, wiping it out and turning it over to dry. I'll get rid of what's left of my inheritance, dumping them on their enemies. If their enemies can salvage anything from them, they're welcome to it. They've been nothing but trouble to me from the day their ancestors left Egypt until now. They push me to my limit. I won't put up with their evil any longer. The final word on Manasseh was that he was an indiscriminate murderer. He drenched Jerusalem with the innocent blood of his victims. That's on top of all the sins in which he involved his people. As far as God was concerned, he turned them into a nation of sinners. The rest of the life and times of Manasseh, everything he did and his sorry record of sin is written in the Chronicles of the Kings of Judah. Manasseh died and joined his ancestors. He was buried in the palace garden, the Garden of Uzza. His son, Amon, became the next king. Amon was 22 years old when he became king. He was king for 2 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Meshelemeth, the daughter of Haruz. She was from Jotbah. Sorry. In God's opinion, he lived an evil life, just like his father Manasseh. He followed in the footsteps of his father, serving and worshipping the same foul gods his father had served. He totally deserted the God of his ancestors. He did not live God's way. Amon's servants revolted and assassinated him, killing the king right in his own palace. But the people, in their turn, killed the conspirators against King Amon and then crowded Josiah, Amon's son, as king. The rest of the life and the times of Amon is written in the Chronicles of the kings of Judah. They buried Amon in his burial plot in the Garden of Uzza. His son Josiah became the next king.